I'm back. Your boy, B Shark, or my full name, Parish Sharkey. Be reporter for the Memphis Grizzlies for Bluff City Media. Back here again with another post-game bounce. Plus, waited a couple weeks, of course, on this one. I did say at the end of the last one, I will be on the vacation for my birthday trip. My birthday did just pass. Unfortunately, the Grizzlies did lose to the Lakers on my birthday. And they also lost. I went out to LA and got a chance to go to the Clippers Grizzlies game as well. They also lost that one. So you won't blame me for the losses, cool. But they've been just losing a lot lately, regardless whether I'm there or not there, because they had lost 5 of their last 6 games. And since the last time recorded, they won a 5-game road trip. And then they returned to home to play the Lakers. They lost at Sacramento, lost at Portland, lost at the Clippers, which I was there, beat Utah, then lost at OKC, a game that they played fairly well. Had a tie game with like 7 minutes to go, and then, of course, it all fell out, and they lost by 21. And for the 4th time, I think like the 10th in a row, something like that, to OKC overall in the series. So another deflating loss to them as well. And then lose to pretty much kind of the biggest game of the season in the sense of the standings wise, but I get there later to the Lakers for the officially that it probably, and I review the standings in a second, the Grizzlies likely won't get home court advantage in the playoffs. They will be starting playoffs on the road likely because of that loss to the Lakers. But of course, to kick things off, we all know what happened. Taylor Jenkins got fired. I don't know if I haven't really said a lot on Twitter, right, about my true opinion. And even on Anthony Sain's show, Sain mostly takes over, right, gets the ISO, and I'm just kind of there. Then I get my little thoughts off when I can. So this is my platform to really get my true thoughts. I pretty much had the same thoughts about Taylor Jenkins. I had starting 5 podcast formerly with my crew from the Let's Be Real media team, and I said that I want to say after the Lakers series, I was pretty much out on him at that point. That was 2023 when we lost that series, and not necessarily because he lost the series, because of course we had Brandon Clark, Steve Adams was out, Ja Morant his issues, and he also got hurt, missed the game 2. They won the game as well though, but it was after that series. It was just like Taylor Jenkins he didn't grow from the season before, the playoff run before. And at that point, I was out on him. And now down necessarily thought I don't know if he necessarily should got fired or not at that point. If he had got fired, cool. I was out on him, so yeah. If he got fired, cool. But I wasn't necessarily team firing him now because I kind of understand maybe he does need another run. Unfortunately, we had the injuries last year, so that happened. So ended up giving him even another year. So he ended up getting 2 extra years after that, when probably they could have served well to go and fire him at that point. But he showed signs, even that first playoff run. When you're a young coach, I give you grace. So that Minnesota series, crazy. We pretty much won the series because Chris Finch from Minnesota coached worse than Taylor Jenkins. It was just who could outdo the other. And then Ja got hurt in Golden State series. And so it was just things that Taylor Jenkins did during that time, that his adjustments, not making in-game adjustments, waiting until the next game to make adjustment when you fall down 0-1 in the series. Just things like that. And and then, the coach speak stuff, right? But Taylor Jenkins has been good at developing. It's different. He's a good coach. He's not a great coach. And you probably need that great coach to take the next step. Mark Jackson is Steve Kerr in Golden State. Right now in Cleveland, we'll see what happens in the playoffs, but JB Bickerstaff to Kenny Atkinson. JB Bickerstaff is now doing well with Detroit because that matches more his speed. But if Detroit ever gets to the point where they're championship contention, they'll probably be moving on from him. That's the same thing with Taylor Jenkins. He's probably going to get another job. He's good enough. He did really good with the Grizzlies. But when it's time to get to that championship level, he ain't there. He's not there. Right now, he's not there. He's 40 years old. He still could get there. It might take this firing for him to get there. But he likely might not get there, right? But, hey, I don't want to come here and just get on Taylor Jenkins on everything. That's just been my opinion, my thoughts of him. I haven't been a fan for him for a couple of years. But I also understood the reason why he was still the coach. I wasn't just, he needed to get fired. It was more coming to this season, especially with the assistant coaches and stuff, all this stuff that happened last offseason. I was of the opinion that, yeah, this is it for him. We don't get out the first round, or if we get to the second round and get swept or something like that, he should be out. If he shows improvements, prove me wrong, right? my whole thing is I don't care who the coach is. Prove me wrong. Okay? I don't have no favorites on coaches. You're a coach. I just need you to make the relevance, changes, the relevant adjustments, right? So, but farewell to Taylor Jenkins. He was a good dude. He was cool to talk to and everything. I mean, I have no true problems with him. So yeah, man, good luck to him in his next endeavors. I'm pretty sure he would still get another coaching job in the league, more than likely, and deservedly so. Like I said, he's not a bad coach, but sometimes it's just time to move on if you want to get to the next level, right? And for the Grizzlies, the timing is kind of off. 9 games remaining in the season, but maybe it was to give. I want to get his name right. Doc Holiday did the whole video. Tuomas, right? Tuomas Iisalo. Tuomas Iisalo. I hope I got it right. It might be Iisalo because they said that at the game, I think, when they introduced him. So he's now the interim coach. He was the assistant coach they bought from Paris last year. He also coached the game in December when Taylor Jenkins missed for a family emergency back in December. I think it was against Detroit or something like that, right? And I would like to say in that Lakers game, I did see some things. It was such just so quick a turnaround. And actually, I'm gonna get to my first video. Ja Morant kind of explained the quick turnaround before I give my thoughts about what happened at the game. But he got fired Friday and they had the game Saturday. But listen to what Ja Morant say what really went through, like him getting fired and the process of him getting fired going to the Lakers game.
We had a shoot around the day. The situation happened pretty much the day before that. Like, there's not much we can do. Like, we was on an off day when it happened. You come in the shoot around, you only got 30 to pretty much an hour before the Lakers had to get on the court. There's not much we can do in that time when you already got to have a meeting about what happened.
What is Tuomas like?
I mean, it's gonna be different now. Obviously, he was, a pretty chill coach. Now, coming in, he got a little yelling and fights to him. So it's gonna be different here and that. But I mean, it's the coach. You just adapt. That's what we got to do right now. Be, all eyes and ears. What he has planned for us, and go out and execute whatever it is. That's just the goal. Obviously, he's going to try to put us in the best situation to win basketball games, but we are there on the floor. So, everything, he plans for us to do, we still have to execute.
Yep. And that was Ja Morant talking about, and I did say fire, I meant hired or get promoted in his case. With Iisalo, his first game, official game, as the interim head coach for the Grizzlies. They lost to the Lakers 134 to 127. They were down by as many as 20 points in the second quarter, and they made a run in the second half. Took the lead a couple times, but ultimately just fell short. They can't. It just showed LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves were too much for the Grizzlies. And also the role players who stepped up. Of course, Rui Hachimura gets his threes in. Dorian Finney-Smith had a good game. And, Luke Kennard has 0. So remember that trade? Yeah. Boy. So, yeah, it's funny how those things come back around to hurt you in the end. But, it is what it is. Zach Lamb had talked about it earlier on his decision making with it. And he also said, he understands the decision he's made with the roster, right? So that's the other thing. Zach Kleiman and the roster is the other questions that's now we look at them. Now Taylor Jenkins is gone. Whether some people who for him say he's a scapegoat, whether people who against him say he wasn't good. He's out the way now. Who we looking at? We're looking at Zach Kleiman. We're looking at Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane. We ain't got the coach right here who did have his little books, right? All right, now we got to look at y'all. What's up? Right. So there we go with that. But just going to that thinking with him, and you can see quick reactions on man, I didn't see much different. Or Iisalo, he ain't that, he ain't that good. He did the same thing Taylor Jenkins did, and yada yada. But like Josh said, they had an off day. They played Thursday. They flew back in home, had an off day on Friday, and Ja didn't play, right? But he not practicing. They don't have practice. They were off, right? Taylor Jenkins get fired. They have off day. They're not going to also come in and practice, right? And then you have shoot around the next morning on the day of the game, which is only 30 minutes to an hour. Ain't much he can really implement. He can't implement a lot of stuff, right? And it's different being the assistant coach and the head coach. Yeah, he probably had a big influence in the fast-paced offense because that's the way he runs. But I learned this weekend he did a lot of pick and roll when he had those fast space offenses in pairs. Taylor Jenkins didn't. Yeah, a lot of things he wanted to do or probably could do, and now he's in that head coaching seat. He couldn't pull it off in that short time frame in the big game against the Lakers, right? So you just gotta let bygones be bygones. They did lose ultimately. Now they are essentially 2 games behind the Lakers for the 4 seed. One game in a win-loss column, but 2 games because they lose tiebreaker. The Lakers won the season series 3-1. There's only 8 games remaining in the season. They likely are done with home court advantage. They can only get 5th as the high seed. And as of this time I'm recording this, the Clippers just lost to the Cavs. So the Clippers fell down to 8. So the Grizzlies are now 2 games ahead of the Clippers. They were a game and a half after last night's loss. So the Clippers and Timberwolves are tied. So they are 2 games ahead of both of them and a game and a half ahead of Golden State. Golden State does play tonight. They play before as time I'm recording this. So by the time this video gets released, we'll know if they won or lost. They play they play at the Spurs. And the Timberwolves play again too. They play the Pistons at home. So hypothetically, Golden State win. They'll be within 1 game of the Grizzlies with a matchup coming up Tuesday in Memphis, right? There you go. And Golden State win that game, they even the tiebreaker because they won the season series 3-1. So it's tough sledding them because the Grizzlies are now fighting for their play-in, right? Like they lose tiebreaker to the Clippers as well if it gets to that point. The Timberwolves, they win the tiebreaker because they won twice. They played them again. Even if Minnesota beat them, they would win a tiebreaker if it comes down to it. But they might be tied by the time they play their game on April the 5th or something. It's April. I know it's next week, next Thursday night. I think it's on TNT. It's an 8:30 game. So yeah, Grizzlies near the water. It's a fight. It's a survivor battle of the fittest right now. Survival of the fittest. But they do have a clean injury report. Ja Morant is still. He was on the injury report. The injury report has come out by the time I recorded this. Ja Morant is now on the injury report. It was only 2 players. I think Brandon Clark, of course, he's out for the season. And that's happened in this time period since I last recorded as well. Huge loss. Your reserve big, pretty much on center. But Zach Iisalo did a whole lot better implementing Zach Edey last night against the Lakers. So we'll see how that does going forward. We do feel like he's a better fit on trying to get the best out of Zach Edey going forward. He did say he liked what you saw in the post-game presser. So going forward, hopefully the Grizzlies are fine with Zach Edey. And, of course, he's still a rookie. But at this point, you got what you got with 2 rookies starting. That is their best starting 5 unit with Jalen Wells and Zach Edey starting next to the big 3. So in the 5 stages of grief that we talked about on the same show, I've been at acceptance for a while. It's kind of there. After last night's game, I left there thinking we're probably going to be in play-in. Like, it was like, I don't see us winning these games coming up. But before we get there, before I get to my predictions for the week, last thing I want to talk about, of course, the viral video. And the Grizzlies won a win in each of their last 6 games at Utah. Desmond Bane, Santi Aldama got to on the sideline. We did get the pleasure asking them last night about what went down and how are they right now since their altercation. Here's what they both had to say.
Yeah, I mean, little disagreement. Definitely not a good look. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's nothing, but we talked about it. It's fine. Like we want to win. Like, it would be worse if we just had a bunch of guys that just sat down, twiddled their thumbs and just acted like they were just fine with the situation. Like, we want to win. We're competitive. We just said what we said and then moved on. Just got to find a way to, win games now. If that's a wake-up call, then so be it.
Yeah, 2 competitors. We're scratching and clawing against the Utah team on the road. We're trying to push each other to be better. And that was pretty much that. I probably took it too far. I love Santi. He did my wedding. I'm doing his wedding. We talked right on the bench right after. Hugged it out in the locker room. Everything's good.
Yep. And I just want to say, as a former athlete myself, player who played on team sports, basketball and football, that happens, right? There could be something there. It could not be something there. Don't sound like it was anything. They have had a situation, I think last season, something similar when they got into it going to the locker room. And Santi missed the defensive assignment. That's bang. They went back and forth. I remember that. I think it was at the Spurs or something like that last season, or early this season. I want to say it was last season when that happened. But at the end of the day, your brothers, you're on the same team. In the heat of battle, things ain't going well. You at that point they had lost 3 in a row at that point, and they were losing the game and had to come back and end up winning by almost 40. But and obviously Utah was taken. But yeah, things happen on the sideline. So for the people who may want to overreact to it, it's probably likely nothing to it. And shout out to him for answering the questions and even just opening up and talking about it with us. So man, shout out to Dez and Santi. We're gonna need them both for this stretch run. They want to avoid the play-in and just see what happens with Coach Tuomas for the rest of the season and see what they can do. As for my predictions coming up this week, at Boston, not at Boston, they have 2 games, back-to-backs, Boston at home, followed by Golden State at home, at Miami, at Detroit. My prediction, 1-3. They are 0-10 in their last 10 games against winning teams with a 500 or better record. They have 3 games this week against teams with 500 better record. Until I see it, I'm not going to predict it. So 1-3, like I said, I feel like they're going to fall in play-in. Prove me wrong. As a fan of the team, prove me wrong. But that's going to be my prediction. I ain't seen it since February the 2nd when they won it, when they had the back-to-back win against Houston on January 30th or 31st, and they won in Milwaukee. Since then, they are 0-10 against teams with a winning record. I see it to believe it. And then Boston has won 8 games in a row overall and 3 straight games in Memphis. So last 3 seasons, the Grizzlies haven't beaten Boston at home since 2021. You gotta see it to believe it. Did I see something in the LA game that gives me a little belief with the new coach and everything? I did. They still lost the game though. So there's that for you. So that's what I got for you. It's your boy, man, Parish Sharkey, aka P Shark. The post-game bounce plus for Blood City Media. It's the beat reporter for the Memphis Grizzlies. Signing off. Catch y'all next week into the rest of the season.